We are continuing our round of interviews with some of the competitors from the inaugural season of the Trackmania Grand League Challenger, which is due to start on October 17th at 6 p.m. CEST. My guest today is one of 4 former Grand League players to be entered in the Challenger season, and he's participated in the last 3 Grand League seasons, Winter, Fall 2020, and Winter 2021, at first as part of Team Devils 1, before representing Team Secrets for the last 2 seasons. He unfortunately got eliminated as a result of the head-to-head versus Scrappy at that point, and he's looking to actually fight back, to actually get back to the top flight and try to get a Norg under his own back to back himself. So my guest is none other, of course, than evoN from Poland. evoN, first of all, welcome to the channel. Thank you very much for allowing me to ask you a couple of questions and take a few minutes of your time. Now, from what I understand, 2021 was quite a bit of a rough year for you, especially the start of it in the first few months with Grand League. But I kind of want to ask you, how are you feeling and how have you been feeling lately and how is life going right now?
Of course, hello everyone. Thanks for inviting me here. My 2021 has been, very rough. Obviously, I went out of TMGL, and obviously there was this, I would say, somewhat of a drama about the last spot and Granadi taking it. Um, that I was just a little bit disappointed with Nadio there on their decision, but in general, I have been fine overall. Um, Maybe did not have a lot of good results, or other than final chance and the World Cup, which was very good performance.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still in fine. I'm feeling fine overall.
All right, it's good to hear that you're feeling fine right now because I was generally feeling for you over the first few months of the year because of you were kind of reporting sort of your mental state as Grand League went, and it kind of went pretty in a downward spiral at one point. So I'm glad to hear that you're feeling better for now. Um, so you're well known in the international scene. You made a name for yourself over the last few years. Of course, got your own support, kind of got your own little fan base. But for people that are very new to the scene or might discover your name, they might want to know a little bit more about you. So I'm just gonna let you introduce yourself and tell people like how long have you been playing the game and what was your starting point competitively in Trackmania?
All right, so I'm Evan. I'm 19 years old from Poland, as you know. I started playing Trackmania back in 2010. I think with TMNF. I also played some TM I believe, a little bit. Um, but I really moved to competitive, I think, at like middle of 2019. I think with some of mixed style competitions because they were starting to get more popular at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, then I won the Polish qualifier for TMGL, and that's how I entered the Winter Beta season.
Yeah, and then you've also, of course, been a part of Grand Leagues for the last 3
Yeah.
official seasons, up until right now, up until, of course, this fall season. Let's take actually a little bit of a look back to 2021. So, of course, we highlighted that that it was quite a rough year for you with the Trackmania Grand League. You finished in the bottom 4. You had to go through the final chance first to try and get through to the finals. Didn't really work out that way. It was Scrappy who actually won it and eventually came up in 3rd place. And then you had to battle for relegation in the head-to-head, and it was a pretty intense match versus Scrappy once again. But unfortunately, you kind of came on the worst end of it with Scrappy taking the win and thus keeping his spot whilst you were sent down. Then a couple of months later, we had the World Cup Open qualifier on May 29th to 30th, and 24 hours before that, you broke the news that you and Team Secret have parted ways after around 10 months of partnership and 2 Grand League seasons played. Now, of course, you managed to actually qualify for the World Cup, went through day 1 swiftly, I'm imagining, and day 2 you basically got the 2nd spot alongside Kappa in the last final of the day, and yeah, you took part in the main event, and you eventually ended up tied for points in 8th and 9th alongside Afi. But the tiebreaker that was used there was that Afi had qualified with enough points from TMGL that he had the priority. So it ended up being Afi going in the playoffs, meaning that you were left basically to an early disconnect and not another Sunday to actually look forward to. And then you, of course, participated with Marmarlati and Insane at the ZRT Cup from 2021, and you went all the way up until the end of day one, at the end of the day one, which was the quarters, basically, as you told me. So, and afterwards, I'm pretty sure you've taken a break. So, I kind of want to ask you, how would you evaluate your performances in 2021, and how are you feeling on the game, at least right now? And how have you been feeling on the game over the course of the first 8 months?
I mean, definitely I didn't perform that badly. I had some good performances. And yeah, I've been feeling a little bit rough because of losing that spot in TMGL. I mean, it's the biggest tournament in the game, so it does a little bit put your mental down. And it also has been rough mentally during the TMGL.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I still think 2021 has been all right. I mean, I can't really say a lot of bad things about it.
All right, so that's pretty much. You don't really want to go into details about some of the performances, maybe, or you think we can just continue on?
I mean, yeah, I mean, about ZRT, let's say I didn't really expect much. It was like really first ZRT I played like somewhat with a lot of training, but I just had a lot of fun with Ints and Marm and yeah, went up to quarters, almost made it to semifinals. Then obviously World Cup was very, very good performance. I mean, you can say I got a little bit unlucky because I got tied with the Afi and didn't make it to playoffs. But yeah, it was still a good performance. Like I showed what I was capable of, and yeah, and
Yeah,
obviously final chance, and yeah.
you're still pretty happy with that World Cup. That was something
hmm
that I was actually able to see, and which was actually good considering all the stuff that happened in the months prior to that. So you were under the backing of an org for a year and a half or something like that. So yeah, up first you were part of Team Devils One in the Grand League Winter 2020 season, and then you represented Team Secret for the last 10 months or so. Well, for the last 10 months, you joined them at the show match for fall 2020 on July 12th, I think it was, and then that partnership lasted up until the eve of the World Cup, which was basically when you actually broke the news that you parted ways. Now, as you're coming into the Challenger season, I've asked this question to a lot of players. You're rated as one of the favorites, and I was kind of wondering, how determined are you to actually showcase what you're truly made of and what you're actually capable of, and to try and show prospective potential orgs that that you are worthy of actually being backed by them and are worthy of taking a spot back in TMGL.
Yeah, that's I would say like the main motivation in the challenger. Um, I definitely gained back the motivation after getting demoted. Definitely want to show what I'm capable of. There's obviously some strong contenders as well. Like I also have this little bit of pressure because I'm one of the favorites,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like let's say Carl Jr. and TMGL. Um, and yeah, I don't know how it will go. Um, Obviously, without the backing of an org, it is a little bit rough. But yeah, we'll see.
So, talking about the season, Challenger season proper, so you run the same calendar and the same format as TMGL. You're just starting at 6 p.m. instead of 8 p.m. as a support series to Trackmania Grand League. We got a pretty strong field overall in terms of players. You got names like mine, you've got Default, you've got Solja, you've got Otak, you've got Razi, you've got Revo, Miquacho, and so on. And I was kind of wondering what your approach and mindset was for this season as we are slowly coming up on step 1 day. And well, we kind of evocated the target for this season, which is totally fair, and that's just nothing but the top, and try to get that spot in TMGL back.
I think what I'm gonna do is to just like practice just like in TMGL. and play the first step and then see like where's everyone pace is, how is it gonna pan out. Obviously the new format, I don't know how it's gonna go. And I don't know how it perform on that format. So yeah, I need to just see and then adjust if I don't know, I need to practice more or there's some maps that are just bad for me. Um, yeah, I think that's it.
All right, that's a good game plan. Talking about the maps, so these maps were released on September 19th, so last Sunday at the time we speak. I completely forgot to pop the question off camera, so I'm gonna pop it to you. Have you actually played the maps yet, or not?
Yeah, I did.
You did, okay. So I've asked this question to a lot of players. I kind of wanted to have your general feeling about the maps. The consensus that I had with other players was that maps were more difficult and perhaps also longer than what we had in the previous season. I was wondering if you share that sentiment with your fellow competitors, and also if the maps suit you in a better or worse way situationally, and if there are maybe a few weak points that you're currently working on.
Yeah, that's true. The maps do feel a little bit more difficult compared to the last season. I feel like I don't see the point of the first two maps being a remake. I still can't really get the thought of why exactly they needed to do that. Um, but then the last three maps, I mean, the third map is just very difficult to be consistent on. And the last two maps are like very similar to the last TMGL maps.
Mm-hmm.
So these ones are definitely, I would say, maybe the closest in races and the most competitive. But in general, I feel like maps do suit me. Um, but then again, I need to see how I will play in the steps in 6 laps because I right now only played the maps in 2 laps. So I don't know if I'm consistent on them or not. And yeah.
Okay, that's a fair assessment. So you were mentioning the new format that it's a bit of a step into the unknown. We got the preview of the new format on August the 4th with the first draft of the rulebook, as I like to call it, with it being released. Now I know that we haven't had a test match to know what we how the format is going to feel like in action. We only had a preview of it in the rulebook, but I kind of wanted your general opinion of it. How do you think it stacks up compared to the previous point slots format? Do you think it? How do you compare it against that? Do you think it suits you better or worse than the old format? And if there aren't any changes that you think could be made, where do you think they should be made?
I mean, definitely, it's definitely better than the old point system. Like, that's for sure. It's not difficult. um, but um, not sure actually. I feel like the actual format is probably gonna suit me because I'm more of a consistent player. Um, so there's a big gap between eighth and ninth, so it's very important still to get the top eight in
Mm-hmm.
every map. However, the multiplier, I'm not sure actually. I feel like there's gonna be some unknown people that will get the times 5 multiplier. And I don't know how I'm gonna like I don't know what tactics I will do. Like it really depends on the map, I think, and how I feel, and also how others feel, of course. So it's hard to tell, like I said before, but yeah, I'll see.
Yeah, it is hard to tell. As we said, we haven't had a test match plan or even run at that point to
No.
have a feel for it. So I guess we just see what it looks like on the day of competition on step one. To conclude, final question for me for this interview anyway. So we kind of talked about the field. We've mentioned some of the names that are in there. I also completely forgot to mention Link, of course, who will be I'm assuming and I'm hoping trying to get back into TMGL as well. Who do you think will be closest to you in terms of performance and will be quote unquote your biggest rival that you want to beat this season? And also, who do you think overall will be able to clearly stand out and lead the season of challengers?
I feel like Mime might be definitely one of the favorites. I mean, we didn't really see him in OGL that much,
Mm,
so I don't know how he will do in 6 lappers, but I'm pretty sure he will do very good. I think Soldier is definitely not to be underestimated. He is putting a lot of effort, and it shows. And he's improving every single event. But also, I would say, don't forget about maybe Otek, who is also very, very fast. However, yeah, it's hard still to tell again with the format how different people will do, and how the multiplier will shake the field. But yeah, I think these are my main favorites, and yeah, obviously hoping for Link that he actually performs well.
Yeah, that's again really fair assessment and a really fair disclaimer that we don't really know how the format is going to impact like the pecking order. So yeah, I guess that pretty much covers everything I wanted to talk about for this short, I reckon, preseason interview. I'm gonna leave you with a few final words. How can people follow you on social media, for instance? And in case you stream, maybe drop your Twitch channel. And eventually, if you can communicate it right now, that's cool. But if you cannot communicate it right now, that's cool. But otherwise, how will people be able to follow you during the Challenger season?
So I have a Twitter. It's Evon underscore TM. And yeah, I do also have a Twitch, but I don't stream at the moment. It's also Evon underscore TM. And yeah, for final thoughts, I don't know. I think it's really nice that Nadio made a second division. And I feel like it will be somewhat of a pre-show to TMGL. So that's also nice. And yeah, I think it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, I also look forward to actually seeing that. I was really happy when they announced that the second division was coming. But yeah, thank you very much for coming in for this interview, Evan. Thank you very much to you guys for watching. If you want to keep up to date with new interview releases and whenever I go into casting mode, make sure to follow me at TMG Geek on Twitter and make sure to mark the date once again. TMGL Challenger Step 1 is on October 17th at 6 p.m. CEST. Thank you very much for watching, and until the next one, goodbye.
See ya.